3 seconds. All right. I want to encourage you guys again to tune in to KickbackTV Live from Atlanta. Listen to it on Spotify. Listen to it on iTunes. Watch it on YouTube. Or if you're really ambitious and you want to be a part of the conversation, then you can watch the recording of the show on Facebook. You probably asked and everything.
No, I didn't. I didn't put over there, so I wouldn't. I thought you switched cups.
You did switch cups.
No, I didn't. I never switched cups.
She said she was, but she never did.
I know. I just watched
She said it.
I didn't see a point in using another piece of plastic.
Oh, okay.
You are so socially.
Then that's my fault. I assumed
It's
you
okay.
switched cups, so
You're environmentally.
All we've got is the Earth, guys. We only got one. Unless Mars is a planet that we fucked up and we have to flee here to Earth, but we just can't remember because the power is hiding it from us.
You like a black woman Gandhi.
No, I'm not like Gandhi.
You like a black
Gandhi was
woman
racist.
John Riggins.
Gandhi was racist.
You like a
Gandhi was racist.
You like a black woman.
Gandhi was racist.
Why can't she just be
Eminem.
Alexis?
You like a black woman Eminem.
Eminem?
No.
You like
He don't know what he's
a
doing.
black woman Marky Mark.
No. Stop. No. Put your hand down.
Okay.
So.
Kickbackers. Are these clothes mine? One of these is mine.
yeah. Oops.
I think so. So, welcome to the show. We're sharing in the groups. We'll be starting in like a second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds maybe. We'll start tomorrow.
Con life is hard.
All these damn groups. That is like a million groups.
Yeah. How was the what's the name? Jiggle Jump.
Anime Weekend Atlanta.
Yeah, how did it jump?
It was great. I stayed there for literally a full 24 hours, like back to back. Like
Wow.
it was like for real.
That was over by the Todd. Yeah, I was just over there today.
It was.
Everybody packing up.
Yeah, it was.
Everybody looked like just the rain through.
Yo, I went to a rave last night. Like, yeah, it was crazy. It was a good time though. We did a lot. Like, had a great time. Lots of great cosplays. If you don't know what cosplaying is, it's when like people dress up as characters and really creative stuff. Sometimes it's a lot of commitment. Like people will like wire things together. It's crazy, but it was a fun time. It gets better every year. It's also very nice to see more and more black nerds coming out. Because I've been going to conventions since I was 15. That's like 13 years now. And it's just wonderful to see more and more black people getting out.
It was 15, 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know when JD was 15?
When were you 15?
Wow.
Because it's the same.
Wow.
Basically.
That's not the question I asked you.
All right, then how much was JB?
Almost 30 years ago.
Almost 30 years ago. Wow. Why are you bringing me into
You know what's
this?
funny? Is that's even older than me. 30
30
years ago is even more than I'm old. Like
I didn't
y'all
start this discussion.
y'all weren't even
Why are they
15 when I
talking
was
about?
born. Y'all were like more than 15 when I was born.
Yeah.
No, JB was. I wasn't.
No.
I was
Technically,
exactly
no.
15
Oh,
when
right.
you were born.
Because he's 14.
No,
Years older than you.
no. When is your birthday?
September 15th.
No, he was 15 when you were born.
No, I was.
Yes.
Y'all were
you
whole teenagers.
were.
Y'all were like whole teenagers. Like
Why am I being born into this?
You brought me into this.
You stand on your own.
Anyway,
I was.
Anyway, so it was a really good time at Anime Weekend Atlanta, and it's great to see more and more black nerds coming out. Blurs Unite. It was a fantastic time.
Shout out to my
Had a good
white
time.
nerd friends that was there this week.
Yo, we had like a whole outside rave. There was like a DJ and like all the black people went outside. We were like listening to Nuck If You Buck and like Nicki Minaj, Itty Bitty Piggy. Oh, that's crazy.
Nerds unite!
Yo, it was a crazy night. Like there was lots of things happening. There was a girl like in lingerie whipping folks. Like she like it was there was two naked girls and like
What?
they were like whipping each other and yeah, no, I'm telling y'all, blurs get crazy. Okay, they were out there like I got video. It was like I was like, and then, yeah, it was crazy, y'all. It was crazy. And then they were like,
we going next year. It's me a show event. We're gonna report the women whipping each other.
Every nigga
It
in the room
with
started
consent.
grinning.
they were like, huh?
Everybody was
They did
like,
what? How? Why did I go? They were supposed to go, by the way. Y'all. They didn't. Because they all sucked.
Yep.
So, yeah. Anyway, so
we're
share
gonna
the show, share the show.
Share the show. We share it in all the groups, share it on all the pages. You guys share it right now, and we're starting the show. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, thank you very much. If you're tuned in on YouTube, you have no idea what happened before this because we ain't posted.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna turn on right here like, why are they laughing? Should have watched it on Facebook Live. Nah, I shouldn't do that. We should get the most love to YouTube.
No, it's okay.
We
Okay.
love the both.
We love to everybody.
Late.
Everybody gets a different show.
Everybody gets their own unique show.
Yeah, the YouTube viewers, the ladies are going to twist their hair later on YouTube. You can see it. So, welcome to Kickback TV, live from. What?
I'm sorry, you just got real loud. It's okay though. It's okay. Go ahead.
Because we're recording on the podcast too.
Yeah.
Welcome to Kickback TV, live from Atlanta, also known as the Black CNN, and the revolution will be televised. I left that off last week.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
We all fell in just now. It was like, oh, okay.
I'm New the Mayor, the Righteous Ratchet. If you throw it, I'll catch it. If you got it, I'll match it. Every Sunday at 7, we right back at it. Shall live.
Fantastic.
Ow!
You lucky I didn't make him regular.
Irregular, regular.
Regular nigga from DC.
Ow!
Hey!
You close enough?
That was lit. That was lit. Sound like a rapper.
Okay.
I started that from Cardi
Like-
B.
Oh, wait.
Cardi B sounds like a rapper too.
She does.
She not.
You right.
She not,
She's a
though.
rapper.
She
You
not,
right.
though. She just sound like.
What up, y'all? It's your girl, So Mellow, also known as Melanie Dion, House Forehand, the Queen of Creeps, the Breaker of Men, also known as the Conscious
Big
Creep.
breaker of men.
There you
The breaker
There
of
you
men.
go.
Breaker.
The breaker of men.
What's up, y'all? JB Frank here, the
Seriously.
Gangsta Geek, representing NWA, Nerds with Attitude. Happy Sunday, everybody.
Hey y'all, Pandora Alexis, aka Curls I Do Adore on IG, the Learned Hippie Otaku, feeling real otaku-ish this weekend, and I'm sad AWA is over.
It's over. It's over.
The closing ceremonies were at 7, so like it literally ended at it was from 6 to 7 the closing ceremony. So I'll have to wait a whole another year.
True. I think we all gonna try to go next year. I would have been up to about 5 animes by next year. They watch anime.
I don't know why they didn't
I
go.
don't
Like
watch it.
Eric definitely like said like last year he was gonna go. You didn't go last year. You didn't go this year. JB, you didn't come neither. Y'all are all bullshit. It's fine. I'm used to going to cons by myself.
I faked
It's all
the fuck
good.
out.
And then I
It
met
is
up with
what
some
it
friends
is.
anyway. We all had a good time. We went to the rave. Saw women whipping each other. Drank some good liquor. Had a good time.
It's definitely
time.
more impetus for going.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, this whole blur. I gotta rethink this blur thing.
well, it's a good time. So, anyway,
Interesting.
so topics.
So topics. I don't have.
They're right there.
First topic is Geoffrey Owens.
In
hot
the
story
picture.
of the day. Yeah.
Jeffrey Owens, Elvin from the Cosby Show, which we all grew up with, except for Pandora, but all of us grew up with the Cosby Show. She might have seen a spinoff.
I've seen it syndicated, and I saw a different world.
You saw both?
Yeah, I loved a different world.
You did? Name
What?
2 characters off a different world.
How do I request
Freddie,
people to
'cause I'm
watch the
Freddie.
video?
And
You're
then
Freddie. You might be Freddie.
Whitley and Dwayne.
Oh, yeah,
And-
that's 3.
That's
Like,
the-
and then there was Queen Latifah. Wait, not Queen Latifah.
Oh, there she go fucking up. Queen Latifah
No, I
character?
did. I messed up. I messed up, too. I did, but I was younger when I was watching it, y'all. But granted,
Who she calling Queen Latifah?
not
Jalisa.
Jalisa.
Yeah, that's probably what she did. Don Lewis.
See,
Woo!
they're
I
all-
want never ever Don John Lewis. Good God. That child.
Focus.
Jeff
Owens was
Owens.
working at Trader Joe's, and a woman saw him working there. And initially, she wasn't quite sure, but being a fan of the show, she took the picture, posted it. After I think she did go double check. I'm like, yeah, that is him. Posted it. So yeah, he was working at Trader Joe's. The internet is the place where things go to die. And of course, they always got shit to say about people. And so they began to shame him for working at Trader Joe's, like the man doesn't have a family to take care of. But then you had a whole lot of celebrities come to his defense, and Malcolm Jamal Warner made a statement about how that's one of those jobs that people can work in between auditions and gigs and stuff like that. And Tyler Perry made a statement. And now the outpouring of love and support for him has been tremendous as a result of people trying to shame him for working this job. So I'll leave it at that. I'll let you guys make your comments.
Really quick, I said thanks for coming for in. I just typed that. I was trying to say thanks for tuning in.
How did you do that?
I don't know what the fuck that means. Thanks for Kofu engine, guys.
I was like, what?
I was trying to type thank y'all for tuning in. I'm new to me. I'm now Tariq Numan on the post if you don't know. My bad. Right. I don't know what the hell that said. Thanks. Hold on. Mel, you read it. Read what it says, Mel.
Thanks, Corp.
What did it say?
JB.
Jesus Christ.
Thanks, Corfu.
Oh my God! I did it!
It's good. Once a night.
I spilled the drink. I did
Oh, like spilled it.
That joke curse splash. That's all.
Oh shit.
So, while Jeffrey gets some napkins.
That's funny.
Yeah, no.
Thanks,
it's,
Corfu.
it's,
Oh, what it say?
I don't know. Thanks, Corfu. Engine guys.
Jay said I was speaking in tongues. Chris said I had bars.
bars.
I was bubble rapping.
Bars.
Bars.
Oh shit. So Geoffrey Owens, who played Elvin on the Cosby Show, was getting shamed on the internet for having a job at Trader Joe's and that, I guess, still being rich and famous, which is ridiculous to me. Actors, plenty of actors have jobs. You've heard stories of actors sleeping in their cars trying to get on. Now, it just so happens that he was on at a very young age, well, early 20s, teenage years, whatever. And the show, yeah. And he was doing other things. He was teaching, he was mentoring, he was still acting in plays and some other TV shows we discovered.
Yeah.
It just wasn't paying the bills. And I'm just going to say, that's some grown-ass man shit. I'm going to act in my free time, and I'm going to get a goddamn job to pay the bills. He married, get with kids. Like, what he supposed to do?
Right.
I'm too famous and take care of my family? Fuck out of here.
Pride.
Yeah,
Fuck
pride
out
is
of
the
here with that
downfall.
shit.
But that's what's wrong with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Hey.
Too much fucking pride.
That's what's wrong with Mel. She said I was on the Mel, and she be like, I'm like, pride.
There's a simple statistic. Most people change careers twice in their lifetimes.
And it's becoming
they
even more prevalent.
Yeah,
It's becoming even more prevalent too, like in 2018, because like people go through more and more changes now. Like, there's a whole rebranding going on right
I'm
now.
putting him in this place. Don't worry, you good.
Oh, damn. Oh,
I
that's
said last week I wasn't going to get bullied no more in this show. I guess I lied.
Shut up.
Yeah, you need to be getting bullied. But yeah, no, it makes sense to me to get a job. I think pride is the downfall of a lot of people. There's no problem in having a job if you need to pay your bills, because we're all just out here trying to live and,
Got to get paid.
got to pay them bills.
I respect it. I wanted to give him an award, but Tyler Perry's cast him on 10 episodes and a half and half now. It comes on Oprah's own network. He's in a new movie with Michael Ealy from DC. That's going to be probably huge because the ladies love Michael Ealy as light-skinned ass.
Do we still love Michael Ealy?
He's
I don't know.
He is fine.
He is.
I don't even like light skin.
Is that the one with the pretty eyes?
Yes.
Or from Barbershop?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
right.
that-
You're right. He's still fine.
You alright?
He's still
You got a
fine.
moaning and shit.
You right.
He
You too.
He cute.
Are you touching this? All right, moving on. Moving right along. So I think
And we'll be right back.
I think Geoffrey Owens is going to do well. He has another movie coming out as well. So he has 2 movies, a few TV shows, and he was still getting side work. So I'm very, very happy for him.
Gotta be proud. Yeah.
You know, I used to not want to work jobs when I was newly married. You know what I'm saying? And I know that, you know, I know what that feels like. But on his level, everybody knows who he is.
It reignited his acting career, basically.
Yeah, so he won. Being shamed, he won the people trying to shame him. That's gangster. We might have to change the Grind and Shine Award to the Geoffrey Owens Grind and Shine Award. Because niggas was trying to shame him and he won after that. Hopefully he can sustain it. But he's going to at least have a hell of a end of 2018, goddammit.
Yes.
He's going to have a hell of a 2018 fall.
Shit, he'd fuck around and have an awesome 2019.
You know, that's what it's setting him up for.
Yeah.
He's going to have an awesome 2019. I just hope that he don't, she and his wife will go get a wife.
Because we don't have no old light-skinned dude. Because like Blair, besides Blair Underwood,
The Underwood ain't light skin?
he is a light-skinned
He's darker than
Not
you.
Blair, I'm thinking Shamar Moore.
This is
Oh.
the worst. This
That's
is the
2
worst.
completely different people. But
I can't share like individually like I used to.
that's I'm having.
I was just trying to see if maybe I could figure it out real quick.
I couldn't figure it out either.
Yeah, Facebook changed some things up on us, but don't worry. You can always watch on YouTube. You can always listen on Spotify.
We just got more
Or
viewers. We'll be
iTunes.
able to tag people
And
in.
you can also find us on Black Planet and MySpace. We still promote
No, you
there.
can find new on Black Planet.
You can find Pandora on Christian
No.
Mingle. She on Christian
You can't
Mingle.
find me on none of that shit. I tried Tinder one time, like, and I can't
My
understand how
homegirl-
anybody would meet anybody.
My homegirl put Tinder on my phone, and I was just swiping. I was like, this shit gonna take forever. I'm picky. I'm looking at the face, the body, the attributes. I'm looking for a creative player off Madden. Like, you got to be like,
What?
swipe,
He's
swipe,
making a
swipe,
fucking
swipe, swipe,
character.
swipe, 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 swipe.
Lord Jesus.
All right, so
You
anyway.
brought it up. You know what? You know what? Just don't give me the mic no more.
Okay.
Nobody
that's
gave
fine.
me the mic.
So next,
On to Kavanaugh.
on to Kavanaugh.
Yeah, this is
Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah, Brett Kavanaugh. To be clear, thank you. Yeah, this is an issue that's been all over CNN all week. Why? Because Dr. I don't remember her first name.
Christina
but
Blasey
Christina Blasey Ford. Thank you for that, Mel. She sent a letter to Dianne Feinstein a few weeks ago, indicating that here's why we shouldn't appoint him to the Supreme Court justice. I was sexually abused by this man in our adolescence. She broke down the details. Dianne Feinstein waited about 3 weeks, and now she leaked the letter, or someone on her staff leaked the letter, right, guys?
That's because she wanted to remain anonymous.
Right.
That's
Yeah, she
why
didn't want-
they
yeah.
didn't put the letter out.
Okay.
She was
Yeah.
she asked for that to
Good.
happen. She said, please don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but this has created a firestorm, right? Because now the Republicans are pressuring Dr. Ford to come forward. They want her to come forward on Monday and testify in front of the Senate Judicial Committee, right? Now, a lot of people say that this is kind of Republican browbeating, but this is an important issue for a lot of different reasons. I'll leave it at that. I kind of wanted to break down everything to get that out there, but I'll leave it at that and allow others to comment.
Okay, so Brett Kavanaugh, as you all know, is being nominated for the United States Supreme Court. And they all went through the whole process of the confirmation hearings and whatnot. And like JB said before, Dianne Feinstein's office received the letters some time ago, and Dr. Ford chose to remain anonymous, and then the letter came out like a week or so ago. Since then, Christina has asked for, Dr. Ford, I will address her as Dr. Ford because she earned that PhD. Go girl. Dr. Ford has asked for there to be an FBI investigation into the charges. When she made the allegation, she named Brett Kavanaugh's best friend, Mark Judge, as being a witness in the room when the sexual assault happened. I think that it is very telling of her to ask for an FBI investigation, because if she were to go to that's a whole lot of that's like really great lengths to go through to ask for an FBI investigation if you're lying. Like, what would she stand? What does she stand to gain? Since then, she's had to go into hiding. She's not even living in her house. She's received death threats. Her whole life has been flipped upside down. And meanwhile, the 14 Republicans on the Judiciary Committee are like pressuring her to come forth and give this testimony. And she's just simply asking for more time and for an FBI investigation, because if y'all remember the 90s with how this whole thing played out with Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill, when Anita Hill came forward on the Hill and gave her testimony, they berated her with all kinds of inappropriate questions and comments. So she's just asking for a little bit more tact to be taken into consideration before they do this whole testimony thing. And they're trying to put up every reason in the world why this can't happen. This is the same Republican Congress that held off appointing another judge on the court. Yes, for a whole year during President Obama's final year in term, because they didn't want to appoint a judge during an election year. Well, we now have a president who is under investigation, and a guy who he's appointed who specifically has been nominated because of his viewpoints on Roe versus Wade, and a president being brought under investigation while he is in office. He is simply against all of those things. So I think it's very important for us to really take this allegation seriously, and for there to really be an FBI investigation. I don't think she's asking for anything unreasonable. It took 3 days for Anita Hill's investigation to be conducted back in the 90s. They have other witnesses. There are other people who they went to high school with who have made comments on Facebook saying that they heard about this story back in the 90s at Georgetown Prep and Holding Arms. So that's my viewpoint on it. I think she's smart. I think they need to go ahead and do this investigation, and that's it.
Can I interject briefly, just very briefly? Unfortunately, I'm an alumnus of Georgetown Prep. So when I saw this on CNN and it came out that she went to Holton Arms, I was thinking, America, oh shit, that white man probably went to Prep, didn't he? And it made this story incredibly real for me, and honestly, much, much, much more truthful. I'm just going to leave it at that and allow folk to continue to comment.
I know that before the show we were talking about just kind of how this is. We were kind of discussing what if this was like a normal thing, or if like it was shocking that like to hear that this had been this crime was being put upon this man, or like was it strange to us to hear that this man in power was about to have this woman testifying. And I had to say it wasn't. I'm really not surprised, because unfortunately this is kind of like a normal thing to hear about. It's not very often that women come forward about this type of thing, especially when it was something that was done in adolescence, because we always hear the naysayers even when it was a current thing. So when it's something that's been old, oh, why didn't you come forward at that point? So I know I wasn't shocked by it. Kavanaugh and all of these things with the government, I'm really quite tired of everything being frozen up and the Republicans just rushing people into offices that, just in order to gain some semblance of power. It's just, it's nauseating at this point.
Factory. Guys, forgive me, but I'm gonna spoil our Donald Trump Shut Up Stupid Award, and I'm gonna introduce it now, and that goes to the president, the namesake, Donald Trump, because some tweets he made in regards to this particular case. He talked about if it had happened, she would have reported it, back when it happened, if it was that bad, and I take issue with that verbiage, because I'm like, if it was that bad, if it was that serious, if it was, what I've learned is in dealing with the Me Too movement is that a lot of things I blew off, I shouldn't have blown off. A lot of things that I didn't pay attention to, I should have paid attention So to a certain degree, me personally, I'm more aware. I'm woke, you know,
It's a
now.
very good way of
You
saying
know what I'm saying?
it.
So
Yeah.
I see things a little bit differently.
Mhm.
So I kind of see why a girl, a child wouldn't have come forward. The kid goes to Georgetown Prep. That's not a regular kid. Like JB ain't a regular kid. You know what I'm saying? Like you go to Georgetown Prep, you know,
There's
either,
money
yeah,
involved.
there's money involved,
Money and cloud and
or
politics.
there's enough information available to you that if you don't have the money, you still got to. So it's a different world. Like I was playing on earlier, it's a different world if you're in one of those schools or Holton Arms,
Mhm.
and you know, you kind of got to look at who's on the other side of that table. You know, and you know, in my neighborhood, the guy or girl across from me probably ain't had no damn money at all. So we both, neither one of us want to cook because neither one of our families can afford a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think about, you know, who may have been in that school because they had access to information, who was in there because they had money, who was in there because they had clout. And you got to think who's on the other side of that table. What family is on the other side of that table? And I wasn't there, so I don't know if this happened or not.
And-
It just sounds truer to me.
And can I also say it's not something that's related at all to riches or poverty. This is something that happens between both social classes. There's
Facts.
I just want to make sure that that's very straight. It doesn't matter what families across the table. Rape is one of the most underreported crimes in the world. Reason being, it's not often believed. It's very hard to prove. Also, it's a very rigorous process for a woman to go through accusing a man of rape. Like, rape kits are a very invasive thing, especially when you've just been through something like that. They're very invasive. You get poked a lot. There's people who are berating you. Oftentimes women are berated by the police. Like, weren't you drunk? Weren't you on drugs? You know, it's a lot of victim blaming that happens. It's very rigorous. Having to go to court, face up to your assailant. It's not a pleasant process. It's something that can be very long and drawn out. And as we see now, this woman can't even be home right now. And the fact is this was an adolescent at the time who's just coming forward and saying, "Hey, I was sexually assaulted," and she's getting death threats. So,
And then people always try to discredit the accuser and say that they, are mistaken for whatever they're assuming to be a sexual assault. One of them, one of these motherfuckers in Congress actually said, like, it wasn't actually Brett Kavanaugh, it was like his doppelganger or some shit like that. Like, really? Like, they always try to dismiss whatever, the accuser says. Like, it can never be what it actually is. Mm-hmm. It's always like, no, she's mistaken. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, and I want to throw this out there just to say it, but there are situations, there are times when women do lie.
that's true.
That exists.
That does.
But that doesn't mean I would feel more comfortable erring on the side of let's do a further investigation than erring on the side of sometimes women be lying. I'm not comfortable with that because I got a lot of women in my life that I care about, and I'm not comfortable with that being the standard.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody to be convicted with no evidence. Like, he did something to me, and it's no proof, no evidence, no nothing. Just lock him up right away. I'm not a proponent of that either. But I think we gotta listen, and we gotta take a good listen, and we have to at least investigate.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, let me just real quick. I think that the biggest part of the Me Too movement as a man for me is a definition of some of these boundaries. And I think that we need to all start with the recognition of what those boundaries are. And that's got to start with believing these ladies when they say what they got to say. Because there's a lot that goes into making the decision to report this. And I'm responding to what I've heard. Like, you deal with all those implications of what you're about to say going through your head before you say it. So at the point where you say it, it's up to us as men to at least shut the fuck up and listen to that, for starters. I think that's where, for me, that's where it starts.
That's where it should be, unless you have a political agenda, and then we can't trust you no way. You know what I'm saying? So I agree. I think we're all on the same page on this one.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another little gut punch. Y'all didn't want Hillary, y'all wanted Trump. This is what Trump does. This is what I told you what's going to happen. This is the shit that he's supporting. This is the shit that he's covering up.
And it's interesting to me that in the era of Me Too, we have the president who has like 19 accusers. And
How did that even fly?
right. He made it, but this motherfucker's made of Teflon. He is like Teflon Don. Because anytime you accuse him of some shit, that shit never seems to stick. It never penetrates. It does nothing. Like,
I grabbed him in the pussy. Oh, well.
Yeah, he still managed to make it to the White House. Yeah.
Would Obama have been president if he said I grabbed him in the pussy?
Obama never
Obama
made
had
it
to be
being
perfect,
a nominee.
damn near perfect. Yeah.
Right. It's just amazing. But, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
So, I lost my thought. Fuck. Oh well.
we were talking about the Me Too movement
doesn't
and
matter.
Donald Trump.
That'll come back
And
to
then
me
you
at some point.
said something about Ren and Stimpy and one eyes was bigger. Something.
Speaking of Ren and
All right.
Stimpy, you know, Wanda and Katt are kind of like Ren
You
and
called him Ren and
Stimpy.
Stimpy.
When you look at them, because
She said,
one of them's fat and the other one's skinny. And
Melanie.
like, that's what Ren and Stimpy look like.
Melanie.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. I'm listening.
That's a great segue.
She called Cat Williams. Go ahead. You got it.
yeah, that's exactly right.
I
I did. I
That's
called him Ren and
exactly
Stimpy.
right.
Okay, so for those who missed it, y'all like my segue. Wanda Smith, who was on the Frank Ski Morning Show, B103 here in Atlanta, they had Katt Williams on the show. This was like last week. Him and what's the guy? Red Grant.
Red Grant from DC.
Yeah.
Shout out Red Grant from DC.
So they were on, had him on the show. Katt was actually not scheduled to be on the show, but they wanted like beg him to come on because they actually scheduled the show with Red or whatever. But in any case, he gets on the show. They interview him. He makes some comments about some other comedians that are out there that are getting their shine on. He made comments about Kevin Hart. He made comments about Tiffany Haddish. But it was really the comments, that little back and forth between him and Wanda that really got the internet talking. Wanda wrote a check that her ass couldn't cash, and Katt Williams proceeded to light that ass up. It was
Like that ass up.
it was a matter of the dozens. They were joning on each other. She tried to go
Joning,
on
this
his
is
hair. It didn't work. He
Talk
fried
about-
her ass.
What do y'all say for the dozens and Jones? What words y'all use?
From when I was younger, God, I remember my daddy saying playing the dozens, but I don't remember what we called it when I was little.
We call it capping, joning,
Snapping.
No.
snapping. And we call it joning. But I know some people say capping, or he capping, or he
Yeah. Anyway, so
That's good.
that stopped. Because you see how I lost my thought before. So she made these comments, like she made a comment about his hair, and they started talking about cooking, and she's talking about how she made some good broccoli. And that's when it really
That was
broccoli,
a terrible
that's-
statement. I make good broccoli. I'm not even. I can't
it
cook.
It's
went left
broccoli.
from
It's
there.
broccoli.
Like, come on,
It's
You
everybody
just
make
season
good
it
broccoli.
and steam it.
Yeah.
Everybody
That's
make good
it.
So
broccoli.
Katt had
Pop
a
that shit
show.
in the microwave and it's
Wanda's
pretty
husband was
good.
at the show.
In the
They
bag.
got into it. He pulled a gun on Katt, chasing the urban. What is it? Food Depot. I'm going to call that shit Urban Depot. It is that big shit.
It is
Yeah,
urban.
pretty
much.
Food Depot.
Pretty much.
That shit like Save a Lot.
Yeah, but he running around.
It's like Save a Lot meets Murray's.
I don't know what Murray's.
Murray's, wow.
That's DC. That's why a lot of DMV folks.
It's fucking Murray's.
You know,
They had the
Murray's
best
Steakhouse,
The best
man.
frozen
Yo, Murray's
wings,
is the
barbecue
shit.
wings.
Boy, anyone else go to no white racing bag?
Calm down.
Yum yum.
Yeah.
You lame.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Wanda's husband was chasing Katt with a
Come
gun,
back.
and
Man, I've been
shit
counting
went
real
left.
hard. I'm tired.
Then there was like, rebuttals, not rebuttals. Kevin Hart made his comments on the Breakfast Club. So yeah, and I'll circle back to that, but I'll let y'all. That's basically the outline of the story. Go ahead.
Katt Williams got a smart ass mouth, but she shouldn't have damn picked a fight with him. She knew better. She thought she had it. Couldn't know. No man.
You be trying to do that shit with me on the show, and you know my mouth, so you should. It was a good time.
Anyway, yeah, no. And I'm sorry, but I'm tired of people pulling out guns on folks. Like, that's a bitch move to me, man. Like, fight somebody with your fist. Like, you pulling out a gun on Katt Williams. Why is you pulling out a gun on Katt Williams? You a whole punk. Like, just a whole punk.
She could beat up Katt Williams. Well, actually, a Marine, he'll fuck you up. But you're bigger than Katt Williams.
Everybody's bigger than Katt Williams.
Katt Williams is bigger than Katt Williams.
Kevin Hart's probably bigger than Katt Williams.
Kevin Hart's bigger than Katt Williams. That's why he was popping off on the Breakfast Club.
Kevin Hart is.
He's like, you fucked up. You missing trips.
He is
You
bigger,
didn't,
bigger.
because Kevin Hart was like, I work out. I got a Nike deal. I'll fuck Katt Williams up. Little ass nigga. Kevin Hart called somebody else a little ass nigga. Like, that's just crazy. That's why sometimes when I call somebody attractive, they be like, you call somebody attractive with your attractive ass dude? That's funny. I'm like, but other people can be trying to chill. Like, no. Okay, cool.
Let's get on to that Andre Brown and Sean Ward.
Wait, but no, but like, was that it? That's all everybody got to say?
About Katt?
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate him talking about Tiffany Haddish. My third baby mama. I will announce that. I didn't like that shit. Though I wouldn't. We shouldn't disparage others. Sometimes you want to bring clarity to situations. You be like, this is person on that level, that person on that level, this. But you can do it without disparaging somebody on the come up. I'm not a fan of that. Mm-hmm. I do hate when people like when Kendrick first see y'all, he the best rapper ever. Like, nigga, we got 30-something, almost 40 years of hip hop. She got one album.
Yeah.
So I do feel that, but I don't think anybody was saying Tiffany Haddish the best comedian ever. I think they were just saying we happy for her and we like what she's doing. She got a Cardi B feel. Am I wrong?
No,
She's real. She's her authentic self.
Yes.
She definitely
We root for her like Cardi, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's make sure I'm on tripping.
Well,
So,
yeah. I was, and to just to piggyback what you're saying, dude. I think that's the thing here, though. Like, you don't pick a fight with somebody like Katt Williams because he is gonna say that type of shit. Like, and that's
going
kinda,
back to the Wanda thing.
Yeah, like that's kind of where I'm landing with it. Like, what else do you expect? Like, this is what happens when you fuck with him. So why do it? Why even start? Like the lady said earlier, why write those checks that your ass can't cash? Like,
I definitely think going off of the whole the Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish comments, he's taking notes from the book of Mike Epps, which is not a good look. Yeah, not a good look at all. Like, you really just seem salty. Like, both of them have had their moments where their careers could have gone to a whole nother level. Like, Katt Williams held it down better than Mike Epps did. But he's also had a long history of run-ins with the law, which will totally detract from all the good things that you've done in your career. T.I. could have gone down that very same path had he not turned himself around. Because that's part of the image.
Same thing with JB.
That's part of the image that people portray. And then, people, once you start going on that path, people will try to put you in that category all the time. I know, like, even Gucci Mane has had to turn around a whole lot. So it doesn't
Jail
look
was a
good.
really good thing for Gucci Mane.
It doesn't look good to have this career of hate, though. I'm not to say that T.I. and Gucci were hating on people, but Katt and Mike Epps have definitely hated on their fellow comedians, and it's not a good look. And that will definitely make people not want to fuck with you and go see your shows and stuff like that. So they need to just shut up and get to work. Let your record show, let your work show for you. Show whatever you're capable. I can't get my sentence out.
Let your work speak for itself.
I
Thank you,
agree.
the sentence was not coming out.
I know, I heard it.
I'm
It was
trying
like,
to say something.
I had you.
It's
That's,
just
it's
not
okay.
coming
I
out.
heard.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's
I'm
fine.
struggling.
Good job,
I'm
guys. I
struggling.
love how the black women sit together. A shout out to my Aunt Ronnie. She who's watching the show. Love you, Aunt Ronnie.
I got a picture
In
of
North
Okoye
Carolina.
this weekend.
Who?
Okoye.
What is that?
Okoye from fucking
Black Panther.
The bald one, the
Nine
hooded
River.
girl.
Oh! You got a picture of the queen?
It was a girl cosplaying as Okoye.
Oh, if it was her, I would like, I would like, text me a number, and then I would call her. You know what I'm saying?
No, and then do her like Maya.
Oh!
Yeah.
I can't speak on that because of a lawsuit that's pending A case is pending.
That's not true,
But-
y'all.
but-
Don't listen to that. That's not true. Because y'all gonna be like people
Oh,
out here
yeah,
like, oh
yeah,
God,
yeah.
that's not true.
Okay, that's not true.
He's
That's not true.
playing.
But I am in the same state as her. What's up, Maya? You know what I'm gonna do tonight? I'm gonna hit Maya on Instagram tonight.
Don't do that. She don't want to talk to you.
Because you remember we supposed to go see Maya at UVA for Swing Homecoming? We hung out with Extra Hip that the whole night, and I wanted to see Maya, and Maya was waiting on us. You remember that shit?
Yeah, I remember. Did I tell you how I went a couple years ago?
Betrayal.
I ain't tell you that?
Betrayal. Look at his face.
Oh, yeah,
Betrayal.
what's her ranch and everything?
She probably made a special request. Please don't bring your
She got
crazy
like
ass
she got like a nice little ranch right up there on Memorial.
Damn!
The story unfolds.
She told
Damn.
him. She
Who the fuck
specifically
up?
told him not to tell you.
Damn, you
That's
and
your brother too.
You know what?
Damn.
You know what? You know what?
The
Cut his mic off. Cut his mic off, JB.
Damn.
Cut his mic
That shit,
off.
Miami
Next
too.
topic.
That's
I
a
think
lot.
it was in Miami?
It was in Miami.
Yeah, there's another time in Miami.
Damn.
Ain't you
Twice.
Ain't you
Super.
on that?
Twice.
Wow.
Super.
Okay.
You know what? You are something else.
Breaking news.
You are something
Right.
else.
Breaking news.
I wish you would have just sat all the way back.
Nah, I know better.
How do people drink pop and like this is the worst thing ever? This
Well,
is
how
not
do people
making
drink
Wait,
what?
pop.
Soda. That's soda.
Niggas call pop.
That's
No,
soda.
it's
I'm
not
from
soda.
the Midwest and we call it pop.
Oh,
I'm
Soda.
from the B&B.
Soda.
We call it
Soda.
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 But you know, some places they call that
Soda.
Coke.
Yeah,
They
but
call
it's
any
pop.
kind of soda
Yeah,
Coke.
but I know.
Coca-Cola. They were
But
like,
I-
you want an
but
orange?
pop,
Like,
I'm
you make
so
Coke.
thirsty.
Want a
This
Sprite?
does not make me any.
What do they call soda in Japan?
Coke.
I don't know,
They call
some
it
other-
Joda.
what?
Japanese soda.
No, see, there you go. I already knew this. No. Anyway, I don't know. It's probably some Japanese word because you know that's what they
They
do.
call it Kongton. Fight.
That's
What?
so
That's so
terrible.
racist.
Yeah,
That's
that's
so
so
racist.
terrible.
Well,
Right.
first, I'm not racist. Black people have enough power to be racist. Racism and white supremacy are systems of power that deny a
Okay.
specific group.
So you're
They
prejudiced.
You
alienable
claim
rights.
big, you're a bigot.
I'm not a bigot. I'm not a bigot, and I'm not prejudiced.
either.
I am what? I am a comedian. I make jokes. When I say something, people
You
laugh.
are a
If I wasn't on this,
What'd you say?
if I wasn't on this show, wouldn't nobody be
That is
laughing.
my
It'd be
Chris.
sure. It'd be.
You're not on the show. Bye.
See, like he's a comedian. All
On
right.
to the Andre
Let's
Ingram
see.
Brian and Shine Award,
You can stop.
which goes to Colin Kaepernick.
Whoa! No! Wow!
I will
All right,
beat
Colin
you.
Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick.
Naomi Osaka, which is kind of where I was going with the Japanese soda thing, but
Joda.
no.
So anyway,
These two athletes both got really big deals recently. Katt agreed up with Nike for a huge deal. We talked about that last week. Naomi Osaka signed a deal with Adidas,
Yeah.
I believe, a max contract.
And Cap also received the W.E.B. Du Bois Award
Yes.
from your alma mater,
Yes,
Harvard University. Your
Yes.
alma mater is all over this show. Gotta look at JB. What's going on,
Yeah.
JB?
Georgetown Prep.
Georgetown Prep, Harvard. What's going on? What's going on? Talk to me.
Well, you know, we keep things moving.
Okay, all right, now getting there.
I try and explain things, but anyway.
Let's don't listen.
This is just good news all around, though, y'all.
I'm sorry. I've been singing Doja Cat, "Bitch I'm a Cow" over here this whole time. I'm sorry, that's only "Bitch I'm a Cow." Bitch I'm a Cow. No, I'm not a cow.
Whatever helps the ratings. This looks like it'll help the ratings. Just go ahead and keep moving.
Shout out to Naomi Osaka
Big Cat.
and Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, Colin,
Naomi Osaka.
Nike's net worth went up by $8 billion once they released the Colin Kaepernick ad. People started burning shoes and you say take over the swoosh.
Yes.
But the Nike stock ultimately rose $8 billion. I am so mad I didn't invest in Nike. I started to do it when it dropped. Just a little aside, when I was in junior high school, Dirty Birdie Backus, right by Fort Todd, down over there. I was in a class where we got to invest in the stock market. And and we were broken down into different teams of 5. And then my team, as you know, like, y'all know how I am. I said, let's invest in Nike. Everybody had their own thought, but I was like, no. It's 1989. We invest, no, 89. We invested in Nike. And I made my team invest in, I made my team invest in Nike, and we won. We won a trip to the New York Stock Exchange to see how stock went, and a lot of things. I'm over that. I'll be winning that shit. But just to say, in '89, Nike was a valuable stock. When Nike stock dropped, when everybody was mad at burning the shoes, so they signed Colin, I thought about investing, and I was working towards it. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and invest, but I just didn't. And now I'm understanding it went up $8 billion, so the stock options are a little different now. And I'm like, damn.
Just wait for the next controversy and buy then. Same thing with Amazon.
Yep, and same thing with the vibrator. You just gotta wait for the right time. In wintertime, when people are out of love, you don't invest in stocks like that. As soon as you get to like around March, you invest in that and you ride it out, and then you sell in the winter.
So let's talk about the question of the day before we go on break.
Yes.
That makes sense. I don't know. Y'all
The
are
question of the
aliens.
day is: it finally acceptable to get help for depression, and is depression becoming trendy? I have my thoughts on it. I'm sure everybody here at this table has their thoughts on
definitely.
Depression and therapy and things of that nature. So we are getting ready to go on break. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a few minutes. We're basically like running right on time.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job, JB. I don't know about y'all two, but I think JB has been keeping us on point with the time.
Hey.
I just wish we can get you two on the same page with the time,
Right.
and then the show.
You just gonna make us run late now. Huh?
Hey,
You just
so,
gonna keep on blinding the
yeah,
gums?
y'all don't go nowhere. We're gonna go get a drink, smoke a clover too. We'll be
Not
right back.
Who else gonna smoke too?
And if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or We the People or Black Planet or Mahinte or MySpace or the original Yahoo chat group, we'll be back.
That was a lot.
I have to speak to everybody.
Sure.
And if you're watching on Fox News, we're coming right back. I have to speak to everybody that's watching the show. Because you know it's Fox News with our sponsors.
No.
That's not true. We
I don't know that I want to.
I didn't tell y'all. I signed the page. I was in Russia all day.
Yeah.
Hey, you little bitch. What are you saying hello for?
Ooh.
That's great.
Pick it up.
Oh, that's alright.
No, it's not yours.
No.
It's not yours. Yours was just downstairs.
No, that's alright.
It's on the count. It's on the count. Y'all need to go upstairs right about now. Hello.
Hey.
Oh no.
What kind of console?
Don't get your ass whooped.
It's a big loss.
Well,
I said that's a big loss.
yeah.
I hope it's not true loss. I'll figure it out in a bit.
Kick it together. Ricky.
You don't do the same thing?
No.
You don't do the same thing?
Thank you. Don't do nearly as often as you would. Stop it. I'll beat you. Go.
That's always so shocking.
Oh, down gas and you like you're my son.
All these bitches is my sons.
You
And I ain't
talking
talking
about
about Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Yeah. That's just, I
You don't
get
even
my
get the
own
line. You
money,
don't
so
even
I
get the
do
line.
what I pleases. Yes, I do.
What's the line, baby?
The Phoenix Suns.
What's that?
It's a sports team.
What kind of sport?
I don't know. I get the
Who
joke.
plays for the team?
I don't know.
You don't
It
know
don't
nothing about it,
matter.
huh?
They
That's my
won
point.
nothing.
That's my what?
Have they?
No.
Okay, then. Like, it don't matter. Shoot.
Everybody.
What are they? Basketball?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good job. You can guess the play to play for.
No.
I don't have to because they irrelevant.
Ooh.
They're the number one pick in the draft this year.
That means they were super irrelevant.
Yeah. Ooh.
Mm.
Yeah, because the worst team gets the best
First
pick.
pick, right.
Shut up,
Even I
no
know
prices
that.
due.
No.
Tell my advice in the name of play for the team or they give for the team with a big against.
You name a player.
Well, I can
Did
name.
he play for them?
No, he's long retired. He's
Okay,
long now.
but he
But
still-
he
he
did
did
play
play
for
for
them
them.
at some point.
Right.
I give you that. That was good.
She gets a medal.
No, she doesn't. Well, no participation trophies.
Well, she didn't answer your question. You said name a person that's ever played with the team. She
JB, cut his mic off. How you cut his mic off.
just saying.
JB, is that juice?
Yes.
God, what kind of juice?
It's peach nectar with some mineral water to add a little sparkle. It's,
You just heard me say I was thirsty.
You asked
Yes,
for
you
water.
Thank you, dude. Thank
But I said I was thirsty.
Well,
Yo,
he might have thought that was your personality. Like, yeah, you are a
Yeah.
thirsty girl. Like, you a thirsty girl. He probably was like that.
No.
Like, yeah, she.
Well, so she asked me a yes or no question. She asked me, do
oh,
you
it's
have
such a
any
man
water?
answer. It's such a man
I
answer.
said
God.
no. Come on, dude. Come on.
But I
I
said I
got
was
your
thirsty.
back. I got your back. Me and JB had this whole discussion earlier today. Oh, yes or no
I need some
question.
peach nectar. I need something to drink now.
I need some peace and nectar.
Stop.
Everybody move.
Just stop.
All of y'all move y'all knees.
Stop.
Where you going? We're doing a pod.
Alright.
Go. Just go.
Nah, it's
No,
fine.
just go.
I'm thirsty.
You should have asked Gilman and get it for you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, y'all. We had this whole show planned for y'all tonight. But we can't do none of it because 1/4 of the team, I guess 1/5 of the team, ain't here because she need peach nectar. So the whole show got to stop.
Toss me that green lighter. Behind you.
Lex, can you pour me some too? Yeah. The same way that JB's is mixed up. With the sparkling water. Now it's being extra.
So we're not even going to have a show today. Why are you so aggressive? Why you got to be so aggressive?
You pointed at me first.
Ain't going to be no thunder with the physical. It ain't going to be no thunder with the physical.
It's an it's a promise.
Where's my phone?
Why did you get scared?
There's a water bug.
Really?
Oh no.
He's
Really,
dead, but it's scary.
He asked
I
for
don't know where the water goes.
What?
The mineral water is.
We post the show. What's today's date? 20 what?
the 22nd or 3rd. Where the water at?
What water?
That's what today's date.
Mineral water or some shit.
Oh yeah, there's mineral water in the refrigerator.
He said it's in the fridge. Okay.
It's like, it's pop.
Well, it's
So-
got
It's
yellow
soda.
yellow wrapper around it.
Y'all are all just ugly.
Yeah, so again,
Shut
like
the
I
door.
said,
Prices due.
there's a
Take
yellow
my
wrapper
advice.
around the bottle. It looks like a 2-liter bottle, but there's a yellow wrapper
Smack
around
you.
it. Thank you.
So we had this whole show, this nice little podcast where we could talk about the biggest stories in sports and world news and politics and all this shit, but we can't because Alexis Pandora is getting
He's back.
popped.
Excuse me. If you just shut up.
Shut the door, prices due. Take my advice and then go get your drink, come back upstairs and sit down and chill out before it be the end of the joint. Then we can chill and do the
Front
whole
door!
shit.
We should probably start the second half of the
Yes.
Well, we would if we had hosts. We don't have any hosts.
We have
Can anybody do the show?
Go!
Stop being an action Negro.
Uh,
He can't.
I put on lotion because I have on shorts. Ladies, hold up, ladies. See that leg there? Yeah.
Lady
Put
legs.
your leg down.
Lady legs.
So
Whoa.
that leg is all in the podcast.
Where's the next one?
Oh, who got lady legs?
You. Where's
I
the
just-
About when he took
I
the
just
picture at the
don't-
pool
I
when he
don't-
had his legs
Yes.
crossed. Everybody was like, "That's weird." His legs. Yo, you got really like,
Yeah, that actually did happen.
That never happened. That's a rumor. That is a rumor.
I'm done. You are not gonna leg shame me.
Oh,
Oh, that really, that totally happened.
Yo, that was
Wow.
funny as hell.
jeez,
y'all wonder why I don't want to do the show anymore.
Here it
This
is.
is why.
He's a lady. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
he's a lady. Talking about the little lady.
Mr. Jimmy Alley, really.
The lady is right. All right, anyway, next topic.
No.
No. Okay, topic time. Let's go, y'all.
Hey, what was that?
You know,
Just like this. Fuck. Wow.
ooh, that's about
I can't stop laughing. Yeah.
And
Now.
I think I'm going out, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you.
Yeah.
Show's over.
Oh my God.
Mike, bro. Gotta go.
Trying to not to bust out laughing.
I'm so
So
awesome.
you do right by me.
Oh, hush.
Everything.
Put on some lotion.
Wow.
I put lotion
And
on my
back to
head.
the
oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
Focus.
Okay.
Introduce us.
Can we finish the show?
Welcome back, y'all.
Kickback TV.
Well, guys,
live
it's
from
us. We here and shit, and we be doing stuff, talking. Subject.
Kickback
What's your
TV.
name?
Live from Atlanta. Also known as the Black
CNN.
CNN.
And I'm losing, you're not
Will
gonna
be
be
Will be
secretive.
televised.
He
You're not
is.
gonna be secretive. My name now, Lumon.
Wow.
Alright, go ahead now. Go
His
ahead.
name is Noodle Man at the Righteous Ratchet.
If you throw it, I'll catch it.
Every Sunday at 7, he's right back at it. Shaolin.
Fantastic. All right, go ahead. Go, Mel.
Yeah.
I am your girl, So Mellow, also known as Melanie Dion, the house forehand, the queen of creeps, the burger of men, also known as the conscious creep.
What's up, y'all? JB Frank rocking on the 24th floor right now. But I'm that gangsta geek representing NWA, Nerds with Attitude.
Hey y'all, I'm Pandora Alexis, aka Curls I Do Adore on IG. I am known as the learned hippie otaku.
So before we went to break, we asked our question of the day.
Yep.
Somebody.
I had questions after today.
So is it finally acceptable to get help for depression, and is depression becoming trendy?
What's wrong with your phone case?
Nothing's wrong with it.
Nothing's wrong with it.
Don't
I'm
say
not,
what you
and that's
got.
what I was going to say.
Sure.
I will talk to him about that later.
Okay.
Because
Okay, no,
it's
go.
pretty interesting. I'm going to put it down. So in any case,
I don't know what I just walked into.
something good.
Go for
okay.
it.
But in terms of depression, I know I have been very vocal about mental health. I know Lex has been very vocal about it.
Me too.
We all know you need mental health.
Everyone
so-
does. Usually, really.
We all do. And a lot of jobs are actually becoming more accommodating in that it is something that is being covered in your health insurance. I know my particular employer provides up to 6 sessions on various topics that they'll let you go to a therapist.
Oh, and it goes again.
Damn! 2 times
Wow,
in one
twice in one day.
day. You are.
And
Oh my
Not
God,
winning
yo.
and that was a
Horrible.
That was like a
horrible.
full cup.
Wow.
Yeah, that was really,
A
really
whole
bad.
cup. Like, you got shit spilling on your carpet, JB. It's like a little spout. It's like,
Oh, man.
it's like a downspout. Your gutters are flowing.
Melody.
Yeah,
It's like a-
today.
If you guys are listening on
Oh, wait, here, let me
Spotify
see the- let me-
or iTunes,
Men are so bad at this. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
On Spotify,
God damn it.
iTunes.
Give me those.
Oh,
Give me-
God.
That's all. I gotta go.
JB just spilled
All
a
over the table.
full ass drink
full-ass
all
cup.
over the table with the recording devices
Damn.
and cell phones and
Yeah.
tablets.
All types of electronics on the
And
table. He
That was
just
it,
spilled my
twice.
full ass cup. This is the second
it
cup
was a
tonight.
full ass cup.
Damn.
And this is
Damn.
his second cup.
Well, I'm depressed.
Every time we get together, without fail, you can say,
Without
Listen.
fail, without fail.
You can
He
say
had a moment. How long did it last?
Like,
They
He had
had
a month or two.
Yeah.
He didn't spill nothing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
And now he's picking up
He's
for it.
making up for it. He's like, I'm fix this shit.
And now I'm depressed. This is something for me to talk to my therapist about. Oh.
Wow. Yeah. Mel's still trying to segue. She's trying to say the show.
I
You don't
am.
all stop doing the show.
Focus.
just cut it off. We'll see y'all next week.
We'll see y'all next week.
That was bad.
But this is the real shit that happened, and it's why people love the show.
Damn, I
It's
feel like
why
I have
people
to
love the
swallow
show.
after my drink now.
Okay, I don't think we're recording anymore.
I restarted it because
It
it
doesn't
got
appear
wet.
to be
It
recording
says tap here
anything.
to start recording.
So the show really is over.
No,
But
it
you never
The joint
restarted.
said,
no, it stopped when I pulled it back up.
It says tap here to start recording.
Okay, so it was.
What are you saying?
Just hit
What is he
record,
saying?
damn
Just
it.
hit record.
That's what I said.
So yes,
He
there
was
was a
debating
segment
it.
of the show that is now missing from the recording. Okay.
So if you're listening
probably for
on,
the best.
yeah, probably no. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes or anywhere where podcasts are available, you are now listening
I gotta
to
go
part
read
2 of Kickback TV live from Atlanta on June. What's this month? September 23rd,
Where you
2018.
been?
Hey, the summer been a blur.
A lot has happened.
Summer
Tonight.
been a blur. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, bear with us. We got to get everybody caught up. If y'all want to yell out from your phones and devices what just happened so people can hear you, I'm sure they can hear you. I'm sure they can. So, since you can't We just had a little snafu. JB spilled his male's drink. It went everywhere.
Again.
The second time tonight, if you can think of a big ass cup spilling on the table that had all the recording devices on it, that just happened. So we starting over part 2, and we're gonna turn it up. We're gonna turn it up. Anytime you hear the word,
this is Megan Devin now.
yeah, I know, right? Anytime
you see somebody walking, breathing, or anybody on camera.
Anytime you hear the vowel A-E-I-O-U in any word, take a drink or take a puff.
Of whatever. Right.
Legal.
Or otherwise.
I don't hear me winking, but.
Jamie, pass me a lighter. Please.
Jesus, you asking them, boy, you trying to get us all killed.
When he does it on purpose, he's actually got good aim. It's just when he's walking. Any other time.
Okay, I'm back.
And Bell.
I'm no
Bell
longer
on 10
depressed.
already.
I can't forward or respond to comments. So
God,
guys, you gotta
this
do
was
it.
a fucking mess.
It is. If you're watching on YouTube, yeah, we just keep it going. For those who don't know, this is a kickback. A kickback is when you get together, have a drink, smoke.
This is probably when you need to go.
The battery's died. You have drink or smoke, and you sip and smoke and talk about fun shit or play games. This is Kickback TV. That's pretty much what we do, except I don't drink or smoke. I just talk.
With the drink right
Have you ever seen me smoke?
Yes.
Ever?
With the thing in your hand right now.
My thing is not in my hand right now.
There's a thing in your hand. This thing.
A
With
button.
the drink
It's a
right
button.
With the
Yeah.
drink.
There's a button.
It's a
There's
butt.
a butt.
You
There's a
say
button
some
in
butts in my hand. Maybe that.
I hope it don't sound like that
so-
when you grab a butt.
Me too. Like what y'all just talking about?
Yep. Oh, no. With consent. That's how consensual butts sound when they get squeezed.
So
Consensual. Consensual. Consensual.
Shut up.
So now, anyway, what were we talking about?
Consensual.
Just
butts.
Question of the day. So I would hope that.
So we
doing
gotta
this
switch
every day?
it. We switch it. Question. We're going back to question of the day, but we gotta switch modes. Let's chill out for a second. Everybody take 3 seconds to get into this serious topic. The question of the day is it has it become okay to seek help for mental health issues, depression, and is depression becoming a trend? And I think Mil kind of introduced it. Where we left off, and I want to jump in, if you don't mind.
Well, I mean, my last little, I know before the show, I was just saying I hope that it's not necessarily a trend. I think it's just something that people are just taking more seriously. People are becoming more informed about mental health. And so they're more open to having that general conversation about things that are going on in their lives and what may be affecting them and how they're feeling. So they're more open to talking about depression. So I truly do, I hope that it is not a trend, and that is like an actual real concern that people are taking seriously, and that is how I feel about it. I had a final sentence, but I can't remember it.
I'll say that people are speaking about it more. They're more upfront than they were in the past, but I also feel like it's being used to the benefit of, like, whenever a white person kills somebody, it's a mental health issue. If a black person does it, he just ain't shit. And I've noticed that. It's a little more complex than that, but I've noticed the disparity in the prognosis, diagnosis of the particular situation, individual situation occurrence. I don't like it. I have suffered with depression from the time I was, preteen, a child. I quote unquote self-diagnosed myself as manic depressive, and I went to, I saw the psychologist. I visited a psychologist for a year. I'm going to, different sessions. I was very young, so they weren't really giving my quote unquote diagnosis to me. But I was in therapy for a year after my mother passed, and I have suffered with depression into teenage years and into adulthood. I mean, the last time I saw a counselor was 2013, and I have reached out to 4 assistants from counseling as recent as 2 weeks ago. So it is normal. I don't have an issue saying that. I don't feel weird saying that. I feel like fuck you if you think there's something wrong with that. I'm gonna say it, and that's just what it is. I know I suffer. I know I suffer from depression, and I champion depression. From my Facebook group to me, just putting my phone number on Facebook and be like, if you can't, you ain't got nobody to talk to me. I want to be a
Helping hand.
helping hand
A resource.
for depression, a resource, and it's very important to me. One of my life's missions is to help 1 million people that suffer from depression. That is a goal. That's my bucket list. Like Ashanti and help 1 million people that suffer from depression. That's
I
my
want to
list.
interrupt you right there for a second.
Okay.
As soon as you said Ashanti, cut you off. But no, I do feel like as people are becoming more aware of themselves and becoming less religious, people are more open to talking about depression and going to therapists, because a lot of times the Black community in particular has a thing about going to see therapists, and
Facts.
especially in the religious community, they're real quick to be like, pray about it, but it doesn't hurt to go see that doctor who is certified and talking about mental health issues as opposed to your pastor. Sometimes, yes, it is good to pray, but prayer doesn't solve everything. Sometimes there's just real shit that you need sometimes medication for, or you need to talk to someone to actually work through your emotions. So I like, not to say I like to think of it, but I do think that there may be some sort of correlation between people, a segment of people who are less religious, who are open to the scientific side of mental health.
That's deep. I hadn't considered that, but that's okay. All right. I mean, let's give it up for Mel for having her first insightful thought on the show in the last 2 years. Ow! Damn!
That sounded like
You
a
deserved a
smarty.
real beating for that one.
What?
Try it again. Try it again.
He was talking to himself.
Yeah, he was.
So, real quick, let me insert 3 points that I want to make quickly about depression and my thoughts. Number 1, we are told to go to the doctor at least twice a year to check on our bodies, to keep our bodies in tune and healthy. Our mind is also a part of our bodies. Why not go to a mental doctor to get regular checkups? Right?
Facts. And we told once.
Yeah.
Wow.
And number two, there are some stigmas associated with seeking help for mental health that I think are more prevalent within minority communities. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I'll break some of that down on my Facebook page, but I think we need to dispel some of those myths that are associated with dealing with mental health. And third, mental health is one of the white man's secrets. They've been doing it for decades and decades and decades, and it's a part of the process of living in a country like America, real nigga shit, in my opinion. Those are my 3 points.
I mean, it's important to deal with those kinds of emotions, and I think that in 2018, people are starting to understand that that's a normal part of human life. Most humans have been through some sort of period of depression, whether or not it goes diagnosed. And I'll definitely agree with you, Mel, that I think because people are starting to look more outside of religion and understand the science of it and understand that it's a normal thing that a lot of people go through. I think also just because today this world is so much more fast-paced and so much more pressure that it's a lot harder for people to deal with things. Like life didn't used to be this hectic, this like go, go, go all the time. Like humans evolved kind of like, we didn't have all these things to do. Like this was very recent developments, even from 50 years ago. So it's a lot of pressure. So I think, especially because we're seeing more and more suicides going on, especially here in the U.S., I think it's really important that we start talking about depression and mental health. I'm a big proponent of mental health. I was diagnosed as bipolar, manic depressive when I was like 17, so it's been 11 years now. The most genius people in the world had mental health problems. If you do the research, lots of people were schizophrenic, bipolar, with mental problems, but thinking outside the box.
Person.
And I honestly, I look at it as a superpower that you're not fit into one particular box, that you're able to kind of stretch outside of that. So,
Very well said.
I was gonna let y'all finish. But yeah, so I think it's really important that people start looking at this and dealing with it and understanding that it's okay to reach out for help, especially those in the Black and brown communities. We have been through a lot as a people. That's something that actually hangs around in our genetics, like that makes you, more prone to stress, stress-related illnesses, things like that. Heart disease, heart attacks, like stress. Stress can kill you. It's a silent killer among the Black community. So I think it's really important that we start looking at mental health and making sure that we're, taking care of each other and encouraging our friends to reach out if we feel like our friends need to reach out.
Creating alcohol dependency.
Alcohol dependency, drug dependency.
Drug dependency.
We saw with what happened what happened with crack in the 1980s. Like there's people take certain things to try to deal with these things, and really we need to try to be getting to the root of the problem.
Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, and there's yeah, sure, but especially Black and brown people is what I'm talking about.
Definitely.
Eric.
Can you stop that?
I was trying.
That's like his damn phone.
Like,
That's like the
cut
voice
it off of ring.
I was trying. It wouldn't
No,
do it.
like do it now.
I did.
You did it early today.
I just did it.
You just did it.
Just did it.
The whole show. And you just decided to
Really,
take it
you want
off
to
right
spend
now.
like?
Oh
I
my
just
God.
want to call you out on it.
It was.
Oh my God,
Bad
pay
form.
attention.
His phone always gets stuck on some sort of arbitrary ass.
Arbitrary ass. That sounds correct.
No.
Okay.
It's always
That's-
ass.
Anyway,
So.
What I will say, what I want to add to that is, in conclusion, I guess, is that we know that people are suffering from these things, from depression and anxiety and stress, and just, I guess it's a burden that we didn't ask for, but we got to start paying more attention. I know, what I will say is I had something happen in my family over the last month, and it's worth it to check on everybody, old and young. Like, this world is a little bit different, and I don't think any of us want to wake up to the news that somebody in our family is no longer here because they couldn't get over the stress or couldn't fight the depression. And I don't think anybody watching this feels like, oh, that'd be cool with me. So it's time to kind of start paying attention more, because I want to give us credit as a nation. I think we are paying more attention. But more is required. And as a person that suffers from depression, as a person that champions it, as a person that tries to help everybody I can, I could do more. And this is my bucket list. But I know I could do more. So I just challenge everybody else to do a little bit more. And if you're suffering from depression, and there are depression hotlines, you got friends and family you can go to. I always say, you can hit me at, New the Mail on Facebook, like Instagram, Twitter, whatever. I have talked to complete and total strangers about the stress they're going through, literally from social media. So I don't have a problem talking to you, because I usually post my shit on social media anyway. So I open up to the world, and the world can open the fuck back up to me.
Yes.
That's 100. I don't, we gotta keep a whole lot of time on that, but
But
real nigga shit.
also recognize to make sure that you are in the right mental place to actually take on somebody else's
exactly.
baggage. Because the last thing you want is for the whole Selena Gomez thing with Mac Miller.
Right.
Yes, Mac Miller was going through his issues, and he was very upset about the breakup that he had with Selena Gomez. But she recognized that she needed to get out of that situation.
And that was perfectly okay.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, you got to take care of you too. So I totally understand being there for people when they're going through their issues, but recognize if you have some shit going with you and you can't be there, like, you just, like, I don't want to say, like, don't feel bad about it. I mean, because, you know, what happens if somebody does take their own life, but you can't take that, you can't put
You're
yourself,
not responsible for anyone else's
Right.
Yeah, you can't own that guilt.
right.
No,
You
you are
can't
not
do-
responsible
that's
for-
what I'm trying to
You are
say.
not
Absolutely.
responsible for anyone else's
Right.
I think that you should, you know, like I know, like if it's a 5 and I'm going through some shit and I can't be there, I'm gonna tell JB, you know, call F. Tell F, call JB.
Yeah,
Tell
recognize
Sneed,
that
call
within
Coffee.
yourself.
I'm gonna put somebody. I'm gonna appoint somebody else, quote unquote, appoint somebody else, and maybe, you know, and I don't feel ashamed of that. I don't think you should either. I mean, I think that it's the thing we went up last week. When you're on an airplane and if it's going down, the gas masks come out. You put yours on first.
Well, yeah, I'm
You know
glad
what I'm
you said that because I think where it lands for me and everybody's comments have been very insightful is like recognize that depression is a real thing. So if you hear it or if you feel it, recognize that something is going on that needs to be addressed, first of all. Now, you know, it's either a cold or it's pneumonia, but somebody is coughing right now. So recognize that that's what it is, first of all. Either give it to somebody else to take care of, recommend they go to a doctor, or help if you can. But first of all, recognize that it's real, you know?
And I know not everyone can afford, you know, like doctors and stuff, because that can be very expensive. You know,
Right.
if you have a full-time job with, you know, health benefits coverage, definitely see if there's an employee help hotline. See if they have people that you can talk
Yes.
to.
Life works.
Because very often employers are understanding that this is a new world and they treasure you as an employee and they want to make sure you're okay. So check that out. Also, you know, there's different suicide hotlines, different depression hotlines. Just Google it. And there are people who will talk to you for free on the phone, you know, and help you out. There's also, you know, like Talkspace. There's different apps now that are out that will allow you to talk to somebody through text
Very good
message
information.
or through calling, you know, through the app. And it's cheaper than a doctor.
Logic gives you the telephone number.
Yeah,
for
Logic
the
even has a
depression
song.
hotline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the
So,
number, but it's there.
But yeah, but there's lots of different resources, so don't be afraid to reach out. Even if you feel a little weird about like talking to your friends about it, it's okay. There's people that will talk to you.
You have resources.
And
You
yeah,
have
there's
outlets.
resources. Don't ever think that you're not enough, because like people love you.
Yeah, and I just had that conversation with one of my good homegirls this weekend over some shit she went through, and I was like, nigga, you're valuable. Like, people value you. Like, if something happened to you, people would be up the fuck set. Like, you're valued. And sometimes, what I will challenge I don't say outsiders, the friends of the people that suffer from depression, I don't have a problem saying, like, I value you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you mean something to me. If you weren't here, I would be fucked up. If you weren't here, I'd be fucked up. Straight up. If you wasn't here, I'd be fucked up. If you wasn't here, I'd be fucked up. If you wasn't here, I would be fucked up. Like, y'all are all valued. Like, extremely valued. Like, I love y'all. So, and I think that's another thing that it's okay to say that. And especially for men, like black men, like people be on that shit. Like, I love you, JB. You can get fucked. Whatever.
Too, nigga.
I love you, F.
Thank you, dog.
That's like, and not that I don't love y'all. I do love y'all.
No,
But
it's cool. It's okay. We
it's times when like men have a problem, like
Expressing
Expressing
what
the
the hell, like,
feelings.
and
Yeah,
I don't want to shame them. Like,
It's frowned upon.
yeah, I don't want to
It's
shame
frowned
y'all
upon,
for not being comfortable doing it. That's not what this is about. But I want to say that it's okay.
It's okay.
Like, and sometimes niggas need to hear that.
It's
Sometimes I
okay.
might be going through some shit, and it's nothing they could say. But maybe F or JB could say something.
Men,
You know, like it's okay.
it's okay
It's
for
nothing
you to
wrong
be
with that.
vulnerable. It's okay for you to show some emotion. It's okay for you to talk to your friends about how you feeling.
And
it's
if your
okay.
friends aren't okay with listening to how you feel and you want to tell them
You need
that,
better
I'm sorry,
friends.
but you need better.
you need better
You need
friends.
different friends then, because they're not giving you what
But
you
it's
need.
okay.
That's
Let's not
okay.
shame men for having feelings
Ouch.
and showing their vulnerable side.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. You are
It's nothing
human
wrong with
first.
it. And I'll show it. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you ain't gonna shame me. I'm better than most of y'all.
There's no shame.
The fuck.
Anyway,
You
so,
shame me
alright.
from below me.
Shame,
You gotta at least
ding.
be like, you know, you know, shame me
Alright.
down there.
Ding. Alright, so
Next topic.
on to the next one. Where do you want to go with this?
Where we at? Let's see. Oh, my last joke just went viral. So,
Right, joke, put a little baby in the spiral.
hey.
Y'all know that's my baby daddy. You just don't know it yet.
Wow.
Be humble.
It's
Oh,
levels
you,
to
you
it.
need to be humble.
I
don't think- I
know.
don't think he go for
Be humble.
He wouldn't go for me
Sit
anyway. We all
down.
I
Christian.
agree.
and shit.
I
don't
agree.
want him
I agree.
anyway.
I agree.
So,
shush.
The clip that New has on here is not something that just went viral.
Let's talk about what did just go viral.
Okay, so
That's how I put me out there.
Right.
The shit that
She's
new
the
put
one
in
that
has
you
no
chose.
relevance and it's
Sucks.
even stupid.
It was
but I
all
have
shit.
another idea.
Because he
If we
old
just
and he
go-
slow on the
I
uptake.
mean, but it does piggyback off of me
My uptake.
too. So, but whatever.
I don't
So,
know what that means.
what's
I
just
don't
gone
know.
viral is the one from what's the name of the cartoon show?
Okay, so let me take this over. So the one that because no one else knows what the fuck the thing is. So recently, y'all have
Let me
seen
take
y'all have seen the cartoon like meme where the dude is like being colored in and like made into a woman and a girl. I mean, a woman and a man, and like looking outside the window and all kinds of little crazy shit's being said. And that's
You got it. Sorry.
That's
I'm
from,
trying to find the other one.
That's from this show called Ed, Ed, and Eddie. So it's Ed,
Who?
E-D. It's Ed, E-D, comma, Ed, E-D-D, comma, and Eddie. I mean, and Eddie. So Ed, Ed, and Eddie. Yeah, Ed, Ed, and Eddie. Yeah, it's like, dun, 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 dun. Anybody my age knows the fuck out of that show. It was a show that came on Cartoon Network. It was about Ed, Ed, and Eddie. One was a super nerd. Ed, Double D is what we called him because he was Ed and Ed. So, but Ed had E-D-D, and then there was one E-D. Ed was dumb as shit. As in Rocks on Rocks.
I'm
And then
following you.
Ed was
Double D.
E-D-D, and he was
Double
Double
D.
D.
Double D,
So
yeah.
you call him Double D.
Yeah.
And then Eddie was like the con artist. Like he was the smart one. He was he was like the con artist.
Wow.
The one who was a slick talker. He was like, oh, we gonna get, and they always wanted to get jawbreakers. That was their thing. If they got a quarter, then they could get jawbreakers with the quarter. And so they were trying to con the kids in the neighborhood, in the cul-de-sac. So that's the thing. And it was a dope ass show. Now this meme though showed Rolf, and Rolf was the son of a shepherd, and like he was from another country. Like he was from like Iran or something, or some like weird ass country. I don't know what happened.
Iran gotta be weird.
Because he was like a goat herder. Like we don't have goat herders in America. I'm just saying
But
it
that's
was
not
dope.
weird. That's not weird.
That is weird to me
It's
because I don't do
different. It's
it.
just different.
Okay, I'm weird. That's fine. I don't care. Weird is cool to me.
Continue.
Anyway, so yeah, so Rolf, the son of a shepherd, he like used to go in. He'd be like, he used to say random shit like, "I hope your fields are barren and your cucumbers grow soft." Like it would be like Rolf used to grow one, but Rolf was like a real dude. Like Rolf would whoop your ass though. Like Rolf didn't play no games. Like, and so he was just a great character. No. So Rolf was a great character. So it just was really funny to see these memes. Cause like I just don't understand the internet and who decided to do this.
Yes.
And like how did it take off?
And then they turned them into black people.
Yes, and then it became black people, and then it was just too much. It was very funny. I enjoyed it immensely, and it was a great show.
Damn it.
So that went viral. So that was one, and then
Never seen the
it went
show.
viral.
it's a great show. And Ed, Ed, and Eddie
Is
was
it
really
great?
good. It's a really good show.
What is it on?
It was on Cartoon Network, but like
Can we see it now?
I mean on probably like a Boomerang or something. Like it's an old show now. Like it was when I was a teenager.
Oh,
like,
so like 4 years ago.
That's kind of scary. But no, I was 24 4 years ago. Anyway, grown ass woman running a $2.5 million store. Anyway, so but no, it was a good ass show. Like I would still Ed, Ed and Eddie to this day is hilarious. Like
What?
hilarious. Is that how I say it all the time? Hilarious.
It went viral.
Oh!
Segway.
Yes. Okay.
I told you I was leaving that to you.
So if you've been on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, you've noticed the amount of memes that have the double words. Like, oh, you work for Sprint, you work, you got a job.
Yeah.
Or,
You give head.
you give head. Or you got butt.
Wow. It went viral.
It went viral. And that was something I guess people probably starting to get tired of. But it's a double word like us. Like when they talk about us, they be like, oh, you got a podcast. Yeah. Available on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Facebook, and everywhere podcasts are available. Kickback TV live from Atlanta at Kickback TV Show.
Okay.
All sponsors
Yeah.
paid, by the way.
I don't know where this new viral thing came from to do the double word. I'm just not sure where it came from, but it's funny.
It's just funny.
It's funny.
And it's being overdone too.
Yeah,
It's overdone.
It is overdone.
See, he about to just beat it to death. He don't.
Death.
No.
Oh, she said he about to beat it to death.
No.
Oh, God.
No.
Oh, God.
Stop.
Oh, stop.
Oh no. Okay. So anyway.
That's what she
Anyway.
said.
I just.
No, this is you.
No, she just said. She just said.
I got totally lost. I don't know what
I'm telling you, stop.
Okay, so those were the two viral things of the week.
Jesus.
All right, next thing. Oh, see, this is already about to get on my nerves. I can tell.
Nerves?
Oh, God.
God damn it! I'm so tired of this.
N-word.
What? N-word word?
No.
No. Ow!
Ow! Yo! Ow!
That was funny. Oh, shit.
Hey, can we be a serious podcast for once?
No.
Not today, apparently.
Okay. Were we doing this or we skipping to Netflix and chill? Come on, get it together.
Let's do that. What's happening? Real quick, the big homie, Suge Knight, in this murder case, he
You
copped.
saw that?
I really did.
I was like, just trying to get on the couch. I was like, ooh.
That's exactly what
You almost fell.
I was going to say she almost took a fall.
Oh.
Sorry,
Okay.
God.
Big homie Suge was finally he what do you call it? He copped to a 28-year deal in the murder. I'm sorry, I can't remember the gentleman's name.
He
but
pled
it was,
no contest in the hit and run from 2015. Thank you. And could face could serve up to 28 years.
ain't know his vision. I just want to say that Suge Knight spearheaded all the thoughts behind Death Row Records, which brought us Dre as a solo artist, Snoop Dogg, The Dogg Pound, The Lady of Rage, Danny Boy, Tupac, and eventually Left Eye, and a lot of Crooked Eye from Slaughterhouse. Death Row brought us a lot.
It did.
Death Row was my favorite record label of the 90s. Tupac was my favorite rapper of all time. And Death Row was impactful. I mean, if you had Snoop Dogg by himself, you are a legendary label. If you had a piece of Tupac, you were a legendary label. If you had the Dogg Pound, legendary label. You got a piece of Left Eye, legendary label. And Suge Knight was the mastermind behind all of that. Some people disagree with his practices, him being a blood, flaunting that, using that to his advantage in the industry, bullying people. But sometimes it's kind of cool to have a black guy go, Whitey, you ain't gonna fuck me on my deal. Or I'm gonna have my bloods up here. Now it's not always
Fix your
good.
face.
No, it's not.
Look at was like, he was like,
I'm with it.
He was like,
Sometimes it's not good
like,
to do that when you're doing it against other black people and going, motherfucker, you gonna give me a song or you gonna do this. That muscle isn't always used the best way. But at the end of the day, this was a young black man, like 26 years old when he started the label, like with Dr. Dre, like young man,
He was on some gangster
making multi-millions and putting other black people in positions of power. Like, it is probably because of him that Tupac died. But it's also because of him that Tupac is a legend. because he gave Tupac that platform. He got him out of jail and put him on the biggest label in the world.
Tupac would have died regardless because the government wanted him to die. They was gonna kill him.
That was their.
Views expressed by Melody Dion represent Melody Dion and don't views to keep a TV show down.
Wow! He
Let
took
me,
the
let
whole
me say this
shebang.
real quick. You and I have had a lot of conversations off the air about great men and what that means. And sometimes when you look at great men, you look at all of them, you look at extreme highs, but you also look at extreme lows. I think when you look at Suge Knight and who he is and what he has been, you have to look at all of it. You can't just look at one side or another and base your judgment on that.
I absolutely agree. Thank you for saying that. I
Facts,
absolutely
facts.
agree. Because we can name a bunch of shit that he did that wasn't right, but we can name a bunch of shit he did that was legendary. Like Suge was a legend, is a legend. And he may have done some bad things, but like that's how they get male. Like she did some good, she did some bad. Like you gotta don't throw the baby out with the don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, cause it's dirty. Alexis,
What?
What?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
that's right.
So ow.
Oh, we about to just all right.
So, I don't know. Should keep your head up, man. Give it to your family, and you know you do have to pay the price when you do something wrong.
Yeah.
But that doesn't totally erase the good that you did.
Oh, they
It
gonna
just
try to
doesn't.
sentence this nigga. He gonna be in jail for the rest of his life. 'Cause
Probably.
they've been trying to get Suge. They've been trying to get Suge like they were trying to get OJ. And mind you, Suge did go sit down for a little bit, but they like really happy right now because like they got him on camera running this nigga over.
And then that's in a message to all the other rappers, including rappers and people in the rap industry, including Jay-Z. We will get you, nigga, if we can. So I just send positive energy to everybody in the entertainment industry, especially in the hip-hop community, that you don't do anything that gives them the power to punish you. Whether you guilty or not, just don't do the shit to give them the power to begin with. So that's our Suge Knight piece. We're not gonna celebrate him being locked up in Alabama, shit like that. We're just gonna say, you know, we wish you the best, wish the best for your family, and we're gonna keep it moving. Death Row is a legacy.
Can I segue?
Sure, segue.
Okay, so now we're gonna go into our Netflix and chill segment. So, in piggybacking off of Suge Knight, on a West Coast tip,
West Side?
I've been watching Snowfall, which, for those of y'all who don't know, is about a young black man who basically came to power as a kingpin, really off of some humble shit, started selling initially coke and then crack. It's kind of how crack spread throughout LA, and I'm sure they're going to, you know, go throughout the United States. But it also involves like the Reagan administration and the DEA and the CIA and these covert wars and how the government was largely responsible for flooding black neighborhoods with crack cocaine through cocaine that they supplied, that they were flying in from Colombia. So it's really, really a good show. People have been comparing it to Power. They're really two completely different shows. I think a fair show to compare it to is Queen of the South, which is also a very good show, which takes place a good decade and a half maybe later. I would say maybe even 2 decades later than Snowfall, because Snowfall takes place in the 80s, and I think Queen of the South takes place in like the 2000s.
You weren't even born yet.
But
In the 80s?
But both of them are great shows. I am partial to Snowfall. It is executive produced by John Singleton, Boys in the Hood, who is from Los Angeles. So of course he's going to give a story about his background. So yeah, it just went off. They just had the season finale this past week. So if you have the opportunity to binge one, it's on FX. FX comes through with the good shows because they have Atlanta and they have Snowfall. So I definitely recommend both of those shows.
FX is Fox, right? I don't know. It's not?
I don't know. But in
somebody
any
do
case,
some research. One of our field correspondents.
where's Sam?
In the military?
Yeah, I know
FX
that.
fall?
Oh no, just maybe he's in the military. He probably doing stuff because he's
Yeah.
in the
He
military.
got a new girlfriend too.
Say that again.
It's
It's
FX
FX
Fox.
He's got a girlfriend?
He got a girlfriend.
It's a Fox network.
Yeah.
He
It's a
did.
Fox.
Are there pictures?
I didn't. No
I don't
pictures,
think
but
posted
he
pictures.
definitely posted the
He's in a
change of
relationship.
status.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Snowfall, definitely watch. Also, piggybacking off of my poop post, American
I'm not
Vandal.
done. I wanted to speak on the show.
Boy.
You can. I'm just saying. American
Okay.
Vandal, watch it. This is season 2. Both shows are on season 2. So, yeah, if you got Snowfall questions, inbox me.
I've heard that Snowfall is really good. I'm a power guy. I love Queen of the South, so I'm very interested in tuning into Snowfall. I'll be honest, the reason I hadn't tuned in was I didn't like some of the things I seen what they said about Tupac. But what he tried to do in the Tupac movies, I just was kind of like, fuck that bitch ass nigga. But I keep hearing the show is good.
It's
So
really good.
I want to. Are you just
It's the
reading
clove.
it?
It's the clove smoke. It's like it's just y'all been smoking the hell out of them cloves today. It's just like making my nose.
Smoking the hell out of the clothes.
Should we smoke the heaven out of them? What should we do?
Inward, can you
I
finish? Because we
listen-
only have.
Okay,
Can we
so
go?
yeah, so I'm going to check out Snowfall, but I didn't like what he said about Tupac when he tried to put in that movie. I thought that was some bam shit. But Boys in the Hood was great. Poetic Justice was great. Higher Learning was great. So I expect Snowfall to be great, and I will be watching it. I said I was watching the last 2 weekends in a row.
He lied.
I didn't lie.
You just didn't tell the truth.
Wow.
You didn't try.
Wow. I will be checking it out. And I was waiting for y'all kickbackers. I was waiting for y'all to watch it with me so we could talk about it in a few weeks. So, yeah.
What about American Vandal?
American Vandal, I don't even shit about American Vandal.
You just stopped me from talking about American Vandal because you were like.
That was interesting. American Vandal.
Oh, well, fuck. Piggybacking
Fuck
off of my
How many
post.
shows are you going to do?
2. Because you had 2 on here. I was
Is
going to
it
give up
only
instead of
4?
you. You heard. No,
Is it
I didn't
only
even
4?
talk about the first 2. Don't interrupt me. Poop Post, American Vandal.
Are you
Watch
still
it.
on the camera?
Season 2. High school
I
kids.
was waiting y'all to finish.
Somebody pulls a major prank, but that's it. But go ahead, Ashy.
We all know the Triple G Canelo fight happened last weekend.
Cinnamon.
I saw a little bit of the
Cinnamon.
fight. I don't know who won. I didn't see enough of the fight to know, and I don't think any of us
Canelo
really
did not
watched the
deserve
fight.
to win.
But I've heard Triple G deserved to win.
Triple G beat the shit out of him.
I've heard that. I watched the last 3 rounds this morning. I woke up in the middle of the night and cut on HBO and the fight was on. Oh shit! I forgot to watch the fight. The rebroadcast. And I saw the last couple rounds and I don't fucking know. I just know that Triple G should have won the first fight. It was a draw. And what I'm hearing is he should have won the second fight. And I just think that's just because I don't know why it is, but
They want the boxers to do better than the MMA fighters.
yeah, so we'll see how this goes. But it seems like Triple G got fucked twice and he ain't come once. You know what I'm saying? That's how it looks to me. So I'm not a fan of
that whole
it's high science. I don't really.
Right, high science.
It could be science that's high.
No.
So
Yes.
yeah. But in conclusion, I do want to tell you guys, and we'll talk about it next week once we've all had a chance to watch it. 72 Hours, a Brooklyn love story that was produced by our brother Shmi Vincent Shmi Harris. I call Shmi, but Shmi. And that movie is on Star. Really? What? Sorry.
the entire part.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was funny, yeah.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I've definitely thought that before. I've just never said it.
Yeah.
But it's like, y'all know I'm from the Midwest, so you know, we used to Bugsy and all that shit.
Oh god.
Totally using that.
That shit funny.
Gosh,
Whoa! Breaking news: a second woman accuses Brett Kavanaugh
Oh,
of
it's
sexual
a wrap.
Breaking news.
It's a wrap.
Wow.
Somebody
Get him
got
up out
to
of
deal
there.
with him.
Get him up out of there. Let's get him up out of there.
Damn, now you got 2?
Now, you know what's gonna be sad? You know what's
He
sad?
thrust his penis in her face.
What?
You know what's sad is that he's still gonna end up approved.
Yep.
Not wait. I don't know about that one.
Fuck no.
Okay, we'll
Now
see.
that it is.
Maybe
I would
hope.
agree with you 100%
I
before
hope.
this came out.
I hope. I hope. All right, let's wrap it up. Like you got to do with condoms.
Huh?
I said let's wrap it up, and I said like you got to do with condoms.
Wow.
Can you not talk about?
Yeah, I'll talk about condoms if I like.
No, we need to talk about
Alright.
that.
Yeah, we
Okay.
do.
Because Lawrence,
Like Lawrence was a
yeah.
nasty dick nigga. He was just
Well,
fucking all the random
oh,
girls.
let's not get into Issa.
Lawrence wasn't
How you
fucking
wear a condom?
because that nigga caught some diseases and
He
shit.
caught
And
that's
they
true.
and remember she was like, you need to be wearing condoms.
That's true.
Like yeah, that nigga was just fucking people raw, just all over the place. Like yo, y'all need to chill.
Yes.
Like y'all really need to chill. Like
AIDS
pregnitis is
ain't
real and STDs are real. Y'all need to get it together. Anyway, you ready?
Yeah. Team Lawrence, y'all ain't be coming on Lawrence like that unless y'all fucking be coming on Lawrence. Y'all ain't be come on Lawrence like that.
What?
I'm just saying
Why
because
would
of the
y'all
show.
put on Lawrence?
I'm just saying. I'm
Because
It
saying.
just sounds weird.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying
Yes.
because
It just sounds really weird. I think you need to move on. Change subject.
Insecure. This past season, Insecure was trash.
No.
It's trash.
His
This
opinion.
that whole last season was
It's his
trash.
opinion because we both like this.
It's my whole opinion. What you saying?
Your whole opinion.
Oh, about don't call me no hoe. 'Cause we all know.
What?
What you say?
I'm drinking my pop.
Oh,
Wow.
soda,
Pop.
Coke. So, bad for me too hard.
No.
Calm down.
Damn, that was aggressive.
Oh,
I'm so tired.
I don't want Kavanaugh nobody. She ain't
I'm
gonna do
about
shit.
to beat the
Shit,
shit
shit,
out of
shit.
you.
Whoa, whoa.
Getting
So,
violent.
in conclusion, the show is over. Thank y'all for tuning in on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook,
Jesus.
Spotify, iTunes, Christian Mingle, MySpace, Black Planet, Mahente.com,
Black people lead.
and Black People Lead, and
Plenty of fish.
Scout, Bumble,
And we don't
and Rant. She's telling me. I'm just reading what she's telling me.
I mean, you're just reading what I'm telling you?
I'm repeating what you tell me. She don't go up prices due. To my advice, if they don't say stuff, then I'm gonna repeat it. They want to hear it on the TV show, and then nobody know what happened.
Shut up, too.
So, thank you, Kickback. Can you sit up like you on the show? You're a
You
professional.
stop.
This is
Then
nothing
no, then
nobody
stop
about
pushing
this.
me down.
This is not, I didn't do that.
Yes, you
I
did.
never
You
push a
done
black
it like
woman down.
6
I never
times.
push a black woman
I'm
down.
tired.
All they have to do is press rewind, bro.
Exactly. Go ahead and finish it up.
Keep lying.
Finish it.
That's all they gotta do.
Finish
Keep
it.
lying.
Oh my
Well, y'all, I know y'all saying finish it.
Man.
I'll be out. See y'all next Sunday.
Good
Tune
night.
in.
Good night.
Wow.
That's it.
He's just so
Yes,
nasty for no reason.
Ah! God damn it. What the? Ah.
Film the boosh.
Oh my
Kickback.
Cállate,
Girls. That's Melody Dion. That's Pandora. What the fuck? Pandora Alexis, can you something?
No.
That's
You just
Jamie
pushed me
Frank.
down 17 times. I'm
Yeah.
tired.
That's F, the person you never see or hear. Or you hear him,
Or
but you never see him.
here. He's like
Shut
a
that girl
vampire,
prices due.
but
Take my
with
advice.
sound.
Don't be talking when I'm talking about the show and shit, little girl.
Okay.
Dion. I'm gonna show y'all a video footage of me. Cause I know that your night won't be complete without this.
Facebook
Hey, everybody. How
Clearly
you
states
doing?
do not post porn on Facebook.
I look like sex.
No, that's not at all what I said.
I look like sex.
No, and good night.
Wait a minute.